Hello there, I'm Kelly Longtin from Kelly Longtin Law, and today I want to talk to you about how you can build an estate plan that includes asset protection. Now, much of estate planning has to do with the way a person's assets will be distributed upon their death. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. From smart incapacity planning to diligent probate avoidance, there's a lot that goes on in crafting a comprehensive estate plan. And one important factor to consider is asset protection. One of the most important things to understand about asset protection is that not much good can come from trying to protect your assets reactively when surprised by situations like a bankruptcy or a divorce. The best way to take full advantage of estate planning in regards to asset protection is to prepare proactively, long before things come to pass, and hopefully many of them won't happen. First, let's cover the two main types of asset protection. First is asset protection for yourself. This is the kind of planning that has to be done long in advance of any proceedings that might threaten your assets, such as a bankruptcy or a divorce or a judgment, as there's many highly detailed rules and regulations surrounding this type of asset protection. It's important to lean on your estate planning attorney's expertise. Then there's asset protection for your heirs. This type of asset protection involves setting up discretionary lifetime trusts rather than giving an outright inheritance, staggered distributions, or mandatory income trusts, or other less protective forms of inheritance. There are varying grades of protection offered by different strategies. For example, a trust that has an independent distribution trustee who is the only person empowered to make these discretionary distributions offers much better protection than a trust that allows for a so-called ascertainable standards distribution. Now, don't worry about the complexity. We're here to help you best protect your heirs and their inheritance if that's something that's important to you. Now, the complex area of estate planning is full of potential miscalculation. So it's crucial to obtain qualified advice and not rely solely on common knowledge about what's possible and what isn't. But as a general outline, let's take a look at 3 critical junctures where or when asset protection can help, along with some estate planning strategies that we can build together that can set you up for success when it comes to this. So let's talk about bankruptcy. It's entirely possible that you'll never need asset protection, but it's much better to be ready for whatever life may throw your way. You've worked hard to get where you are in life, and with just a little strategic planning, it will help you hold on to what you have so you can live well and eventually pass your estate's assets on to your future beneficiaries. But experiencing an unexpected illness or even a large-scale economic recession could mean that you may wind up bankrupt. Now, when it comes to bankruptcy and asset protection trusts hold on to more than just liquid cash. You can fund these types of trusts with real estate, investments, and personal belongings, and more. And due to the nature of the trust, the person controlling those assets will be a trustee of your choosing. Now that the assets within the trust aren't technically in your possession, they can stay out of creditors' reach, so long as the trust is irrevocable, properly funded, and operated in accordance with all of the asset protection law's requirements. In fact, asset protection trusts must be formed and funded well in advance of any potential bankruptcy and have numerous initial and ongoing requirements. They're not for everyone, but it can be a great fit for the right type of person. Now, let's talk about what happens when it comes to divorce. Now, one of the last things that you want to happen to the nest egg that you've saved is for your children to lose it in a divorce. In order to make sure your beneficiaries get the parts of your estate that you want to pass on to them, regardless of how their marriage develops, you can set up discretionary trusts. Now, these discretionary trusts offer you the divorce asset protection, and it's a type of strategy that's used fairly commonly. Now, when you create a trust, the property it holds doesn't officially belong to the beneficiary. making trust a great way to protect your assets in a divorce. Discretionary trusts allow for distribution to the beneficiary, but do not mandate any distributions. And as a result, they can provide access to assets, but reduce or even eliminate the risk that your child's inheritance could be seized by a divorcing spouse. Now, there are a number of ways to designate your trustees and beneficiaries who may be the same person. And like with many legal issues, there are some other decisions that also need to be made. Discretionary trusts rather than outright distributions are one of the best ways that you can provide robust asset protection for your children. Now, family LLCs or partnerships are another way to keep your assets safe in divorce proceedings. Although discretionary trusts are advisable for people across a wide spectrum of financial means, family LLCs or partnerships are typically only a good fit for very well-off people. Now let's talk about possible judgments. When an upset customer and employee sues a company, the business owner's personal assets can be threatened by the lawsuit. Even for non-business owners, injury from something as small as a stranger tripping on the sidewalk outside of your house can end up draining the wealth that you've worked so hard for. Although insurance is often the first line of defense, it is often worth exploring other strategies to comprehensively protect against this risk. Operating your small business as a limited liability company, commonly referred to as an LLC, can help protect your personal assets from business-related lawsuits. As mentioned above, malpractice and other types of liability insurance can also protect you from damaging suits. Now, risk management using insurance and business entities is a complex discipline, even for small businesses. So don't only rely on what you've heard online or common sense. You owe it to your family to work with a group of qualified professionals, such as us, as your estate planning attorney and an insurance advisor, to develop a comprehensive asset protection strategy for your business. Now, these are just a few ways that we can optimize your estate plan in order to keep your assets protected. But every plan should be tailored to an individual's exact circumstances. So give us a call today to discuss your estate plan's asset protection strategies. I'm Kelly Longtin from Kelly Longtin Law, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If we can be of help, just feel free to reach out and give us a call. We provide effective estate planning for everyday families.